Hey guys, this video is an addition to the original video that I did that was a review of my Kayo K6-R 250. I got some more questions from people at the track. I actually had a track day with it. I'm up to about 5 hours of time total on it so far. I bought it, as some of you guys know, pre-owned, so it had about 3 on it. So I've got about approximately 2 hours of total ride time on it, all motocross, off-road type stuff. So to get to one of the things that someone asked me is what to expect when you go to buy one of these. And as you're going to see, I'm going to go from notes here that I have, so my eyes may dart down. But Kayo is new to the United States, but they have been selling bikes all around the world. India, China, Indonesia, Taiwan, Europe, they're just all over. Africa. They've been around and they're very big everywhere else. So they made a push now in 2021 to consolidate. Don't make any bikes. Some of them were relabeled prior. They used to be Kayo. They wouldn't have Kayo's name, but they were relabeled. So they decided to take everything in-house for the, I'm speaking of the United States here, and set up a dealer network, which some of it already existed. They had mini bikes and four-wheelers and off-road bikes that were smaller and not purpose-built like this one. They had like a 230 and a 250, but they also went under by, I think they were Pitster Pro for a while. Anyways, none of that really matters now. In 2021, they're trying to set up a dealer network, brick and mortar stores. So what was asked of me is what to expect if I went to go get one of these. So you'd have to go online, find a dealer near you, and you walk in, you buy it, and you get, just like the Japanese bikes, you get a bike that's already prepped. You pay your price, but included in that is dealer setup. So the bike will have oil in it. It won't have gas. You'll have to put they may have a little bit just because they started it for you. They usually start them and run them. They'll have a little bit, but it'll have the oils in it. It'll have the fluids. It'll be completely built. I've heard good things about people who have bought these and then taken them apart to check on if all the bearings and everything, the seals are all good. And people have said they've all been lubed. So prior, I have bought previous bikes, Chinese bikes, and you got it in a crate to your house, delivered, and then you had to assemble a good portion of it. Some of it would be together, but for the most part, you'd have to go through all the nuts and bolts and re-lube and make sure you put Loctite on everything. That should be taken care of for you from the dealer. So before you leave the dealer, you want to make sure everything's the way you want it. You're looking for, no missing parts. Everything's tight and greased up and lubed up for you, and no scratched up plastic like you get when you order it for yourself. Sometimes you deal with the shipping part of it, so then you get bent plastic or scratched up plastic. Missing, some people have had broken, bent bars, missing parts. When you have a dealer network, you don't have to worry about that. And if something is, then you deal with the dealer, the person who sold you the bike, and they get that taken care of for you. This K6R comes with a 3-month warranty. It is limited, and there's legal mumbo jumbo in there, but a lot of the bikes don't come with anything. So you get a little something. I mean, you'd have to look into it for yourself as far as what it covers, but at least you get something. They'll jet it. It should be jetted for your area. I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to run clean, but at least they'll start and run and idle. You're not going to get a service manual, but you will get an MCO and a you get a manual, but it's not even for one bike. It's for multiple bikes. It's been translated from China. You know, you'll get all your purchasing paperwork with it, but that's about it for that part of it. And then I want to kind of go over some of the things, again, that I went over in the other video, but I'm just going to reiterate them and go through and retouch on some, because there were a couple of things I missed. Like I said, this bike sold outside of the United States, and in just 2021, they came up with wanting to bring stuff in-house and set up dealer network across the United States. So you should be able to find them. They're becoming more and more prevalent, particularly out west. I've seen a lot of power sports dealers that have these, and they've actually got a lot of inventory, which the Japanese bikes right now, especially going into Christmas, they don't even have inventory. It's hard to get the bikes. So, you know, if you're looking for someone for Christmas, that might be a good way to go. When you first get it, it does come with a headlight and a tail light. That's just for marketing purposes. They can sell them to a greater number of people here in the United States and outside of the United States in that scenario. People want, like, quote unquote, a dirt bike, when this is really designed to be a motocross bike. But they do give you the number plate that you can take. You can take off the light and the tail light, which I've done. You can see here, it's not, you know, nothing on there. And it runs strictly as a motocross bike. And that's what it was designed for. Don't be confused. There is another model. The EFI version of the K6-R is a dirt bike. Strictly off-road, enduro, hair scrambles, GNCC, whatever you want to call that version of that bike. That's what that's for. This one is for the motocross. And the reason being, I touched on a little bit before, is how it's set up. This bike specifically has heavier springs and valving for the forks and the shock. And as a matter of fact, I found out that they are different models of Fast Ace. So they are Fast Ace front and rear, forks and shock. But the other version, the EFI, has totally different models. They have different model numbers, different part numbers. They're not the same. Some people were saying that they are. Everything I can find, I even scanned a barcode that was on my forks, and it came up with a different model number than what is on the EFI version. So everything that I'm seeing that I can find is different than what people are saying. They are specifically made for motocross. They have heavier springs, they have heavier valving, and designed for motocross. The speed of the internals that lets the fluid flow is different. Don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but these front forks also are copies and clones of, like, 5, 6, 7, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Honda CRs, the four-stroke CR versions, 250s, 450s, twin chamber internal forks. I know Joe Hinner has already had in his bike, taken them apart, looked at the internals, did some valving, even put Race Tech Gold valves in there, because, you know, it's a Honda clone. You can do it. So I'll get to you eventually on what spring will fit in there. I'm gonna guess some KTMs will fit in there. I'm pretty sure it's the same size, and you just have to figure. I'll have to figure out the kilograms of this spring, the spring rate. But this bike, I've taken it out, and I'm 200 pounds. You put on my gear and all that stuff. You know, you're talking about, I don't know, 215 or something like that. I didn't bottom my forks. I run a zip tie on the front to see the travel, to make sure that I don't bottom. And I didn't bottom. The bike traveled through the stroke fine. When you get them, when you go pick one up from a dealer, the they won't set the compression and rebound for you. So they're going to be all over the place. I've heard from others that basically they back them all the way out so they're always soft. They're not going to set up your sag. The sag's going to be real high up. The retaining rings will be high up. So basically soft. And you'll have to adjust those, adjust the sag and adjust your rebound and compression. Same on your shock. Compression and rebound on the bottom. On the forks, compression on top, rebound on the bottom. Just for starters, if you have no experience with that, I would just say you're trying to get a balance between the front and the back, and I would start probably in the. People will tell you different. I like to start in the middle of all of the clickers and work back from there. So in is harder, out is softer, and the rebound. In is faster. Yeah, in is faster, out is slower. I might have that bad. I might have the rebound wrong. I'm sorry. But anyways, you check it into it. You can see it on the internet which way it goes. But you want to get your bike. So if you push down in the center of your bike, you want both of the front forks in the shock to go evenly. You don't want one going before the other. So that's what you're trying to get, is a balance. Okay, so moving on. Quality is as good as the big five. I've said that last time. I'm really stepping out saying this. I mean, people are gonna roast me, but I'm just talking about the build quality. I'm not talking about horsepower or suspension or the overall build quality. So how it's made, the frame together, the components in the shock, and the rims and all that, on par with the Japanese. Maybe just a little bit older technology that they're using here, that saves you the money. But I still am blown away. Happy to report this to you because I've owned a couple different Chinese bikes, and the quality from the start wasn't that good, and I ended up switching a lot of components. And I'm afraid a lot of you guys, I'm seeing already in the comments that people are fearful of that. This is not those older China bikes, and certainly not the stuff that you buy like the Amazon China bikes. I mean, you're going to a dealer, you're getting a chrome, they're copying a chrome moly steel frame. So just like KTM, just like GPX, just like Husky, Gas, that frame is the same. It's a copy of a KTM, basically. It is a little different here and there, but then that's how they avoid getting in trouble. So the steel itself is of that high quality also. Whereas a couple of these other China bikes that you might have seen, like my older Orion, copied a KTM design basically, but used a mild steel frame, and there was some frame breakage. I'm not gonna lie, some people had some problems. I was one of them. I did what the bike was not intended to have done. It wasn't made to be a motocross bike. I did that. I brought that on myself. Also, geometry caused some flex too, but down the rabbit hole again. This bike is not that, guys. I'm telling you, please, if you're trying to be budget minded, go look at a Kayo. They are top notch in build quality. Best China bike I've ever seen. Some people are going to argue with me, and you can argue in the comments all you want. It's a different bike than the GPX. It's made to be a motocross bike. GPX is not made to be that. I've already gotten to some, a little bit of people giving me a little bit of grief about that. No, my GPX is better. Well, take your GPX, meet me over at Chad Reed's or NCP, North Carolina Motor Sports Park. Let's see. I don't buy it. They're the same. They're basically the same. The difference being Kayo uses fast ace suspension, GPX uses SCZ. That's the major difference between the bikes. The new 300 GPX even has this engine, the dual overhead cam engine. And the GPX will be a 300, mine's a 250. That's about it. Mapping a little bit may be different, but yeah, sorry, ignition mapping, if you didn't know what I was talking about. And they have an EFI. This bike is carbureted. They do make a EFI version, but they're making that and putting it into the off-road version of this bike. So getting back to more important parts about the build quality. All the bolts are grade. They're grade bolts. If you understand what that means, they're hardened. A lot of them are Allens, but KTM's are Allens. It's a kind of a mix of Allen and regular metric, but they're all grade bolts. So a lot of times people complain about that because they strip out, they're not as strong. All the thread holes, I went through and retightened a bunch of stuff, and all the thread holes were tapped. Perfect. So everything on this bike is like, build quality wise, like again, saying it's perfect. It's very good, high quality. Kenda tires I told you about before, DID chain, Nibby carburetor, the racing version, not just a standard version, a racing version that it's designed a little bit better. 35 horsepower. This is what I'm hearing. I've heard a little bit of anything from 32 to 36. I'm going to go with 35 right now. That's what I'm going with. It's been told to me. And there's things that you can do for it to even make it like very quickly. If that's not enough for you, which let's talk about that for a second. Most of the bikes today have been at that 250s I'm talking about, have been at that 35 to 40 level for well over 10, probably going on 15 years. So the power is there. Most people can't use a 450 anyways. So having ridden it, I will tell you that it doesn't wind up quite as fast. So when you're on the throttle, it takes a little bit longer to wind up that power. Not much. I'm not talking about like a severe difference. I'm just talking a little bit less than the Japanese bikes, which are, the top of the line, purpose built, just like this, purpose built, but top of the line, and they rev a little bit more than this. There is a CDI mapping rev box that you can buy, ignition box that you can buy, and that brings that ability to rev higher and a little bit quicker, but even still it's going to be a little bit less than the Japanese as far as that rev up. You also feel the engine braking. Those of you who have owned four-strokes for a while, if you think back, it's probably in that era of the 2005 to 2008, 9, right around there. They had that really heavy engine braking. I took it out. I didn't notice it at first, but on a motocross track, when I actually got over to Chad Reed's Moto 40, then you could tell. It's actually a good thing. It plants the front for the average guy, helps plant the front. It dives it in the corners a little bit and helps you with the roll on and getting set in rutted corners. For some, especially coming off a two-stroke, when you're jumping, you'll feel it if you don't keep your throttle constant going up the face of the jump and blipping it right before you land. Got to be on full before you land. Otherwise, you'll really feel it. You'll feel that power drop off, and it will bring the front. You get like a diving sensation. And it scared me a couple times. I did. Then I realized what I was doing, and some other people I spoke to But yeah, so that is something you have to get used to. It's a little bit, so you're getting older technology, so therefore you're saving money. You just have to remember how you used to ride it. That's how the 4-strokes used to be ridden. You know, you're keeping that throttle on as much as you possibly can. You know, you don't want it to where you're looping back, but you know, right before the face, coming up the face, right at the end of the face, boom, off. Then blip it, full throttle, or as much, you know, a good amount of throttle when you land. Downside, of course, I'm not talking about if you're gonna land lower, short, but boom, give it good throttle. It's not slow by any means. I would recommend this bike to anybody, particularly novices, B-class riders, vet riders. No problem. A little bit heavy. I haven't got it. I don't have a freight scale to get it exactly, but I've heard 243. But you know, you drop a little bit for the light and the tail light. You can drop your Kickstarter if you just want to go full electric. Lithium ion battery will get you a couple pounds, like 4 actually. The lithium ion battery is a good way to lose some weight really quick. Compatibility with others that, you know, like, so that they copy. So let's get into that. So the rims, hubs, brake rotors are Hondas. Front and rear, sorry. The back sprocket, you know, Honda hub, so Honda sprocket. The front, I've heard different things, so I'm not going to quote that to you. Not sure about that one yet. But the lower engine components are a copy of an old Honda. Like those early versions of the Hondas 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The lower internal part. The top end is brand new. This is Zongshin, dual overhead cam, 249cc. I don't know that it directly copies anything. I have heard that it's similar in certain ways to a Kawasaki, as far as needing the tappets to take up the valve slack. You measure these little wafers. Maybe other manufacturers do that too, but I'm not sure. It's 100% Zongshin. It's not a direct copy of anything else. So on that one, the front number plate and the front fender are 2015 KTM. The rear seat, number plates, and fender are 2016 KTM. Haven't got the exact year for the filter. I'm assuming because of the setup, it's 2016 KTM, but I don't want to give you misinformation. So I'm gonna wait on that one, and as soon as I find out, I'll get you the exact thing that it is. The rims themselves are 70/75 aluminum rims with extra heavy duty spokes. They're very thick, almost 4 millimeters. The actual stainless steel spoke, measured with my caliper. Billet hubs, billet triple clamps, billet breakaway levers. This is stuff sometimes you don't even get on other brands. So, and I think I've got just about what I was trying to get for you. My riding impression was it was awesome. I can't say it enough. I enjoy this bike. Kenda tires. Kenda Washougal intermediate tires come on it, stock. Wide foot pegs. Just, gosh, everything that keeps going. You know, between two videos, I've basically touched on everything, I believe. But so, I guess the real crux of the matter is, When someone would come up to me, I got a couple already when I was over at Chad Reed's Moto 40 MX Park. I ride the intermediate track. I don't ride the big one. They have an advanced track, and eventually I think I'll get out there, but currently I'm riding the intermediate track to, it's just my level. Let's be honest, I'm 56 years old. My ride level is, just above beginner. I used to be a good intermediate. I grew up in Florida, racing in, mostly sand. A lot of tracks down there are kind of a mix of sand, not like these hard packed tracks that are here in North Carolina. But yeah, raced at Dade City, raced at Gatorback for Winter Nationals and Winter Series that they would have there. Seminole Motocross Park down Seminole Indians had one. Pepsi Airdania, used to ride over there and see Rob Van Winkle, guys from Vanilla Ice. Used to see him a lot. So I have years of experience. There's just been some gap in between, and I just ride safe now. I worry about making it to work constant. I'm out currently right now, today, because I've got a back issue going on, some sciatic going on from my work. So I got to be careful how far I take it nowadays. Having said that, because I'm getting a little bit far sidetracked again. This bike is definitely the best China bike out there. There's no doubt about this to me for motocross. I mean, specifically built for motocross. If you want to use something else, comparison-wise, like SSR 300, GPX, yeah, those two are the only ones I can think of that are of the similar vein, but they don't make a purpose-built motocross bike. Can they be? Yes, of course. You can change components out and get them up there. They also come with both of those brands also come with a lot of the bling that the Japanese bikes don't necessarily have. But I'm just recommending this to anybody who'll listen. Dual overhead cam, 35 horsepower, great brakes. I didn't mention that before. In my previous video, I said dual caliper. They're dual piston, single caliber. Sorry about that from before. But, the rims can take motocross. A lot of the China bikes, they don't make them that good enough to do that. So, yeah, these are up there. Seat has a gripper on it. The radiator shrouds, I believe to be Honda, or pretty dang close. Someone let me know if you replace those with Honda and if the Honda ones will work. I'm not 100% sure they're exact, but it's water cooled. Has a catch can on one side. Sorry, coolant cooled, liquid cooled. Don't run water. Sorry, I'm sorry I even said that. Don't put water in your liquid cooled 4-stroke dirt bike. People, listen to me. Get engine ice. Get something better than that. Other brands, but don't put water in there. These aluminum radiators and internals do not stand up to that very well. But anyway, so liquid cooled. It's got a catch can on one side for overflow, which I don't think you'll ever have to worry about that unless you're really out there in the heat, riding for a real long time. And it has a fan, a temperature fan, cuts in with temperature, helps bring you back down temperature-wise. Kayos come with a tachometer and an hour meter. Stock, you don't have to buy them. They're already wired up. These are wired, hardwired ones, not the wireless. And yeah, they work really well. So in the future, I mean, talk to me about anything you want. I'm going to be doing things with this bike. Obviously, I'll change things out. I was not a big fan of the handlebars. I ran them. My buddy Joe Henner said that they weren't that good, and I didn't believe him. but after running them, I do not like the bend, so I'm going to switch back to my Pro tapers. And I ran my clickers, I set them for what I like, and I still feel like I need to adjust the compression on the forks a little bit hard. Need to bring them in a little bit, make them a little bit harder. My rebound is fine. I felt like the suspension still needs to be broken in. Only 4.5 hours on this bike total. I can still tell that it hasn't quite settled yet. You know, being Honda, they will definitely be able to respond to oil change and your clickers. So don't think that you can't get this, like you ride it and you go, oh wow, I don't. Check your clickers. Eventually check your oil level. See if that's something that you need to adjust to get it right. Remember, you're trying to go for balance. So that's about it. I'm gonna go. Keep looking forward for more videos of this bike. I enjoy it, so I'm going to be running it this coming year. And you know, I'll probably be doing changes here and there. I won't do a lot. The bike comes with a lot already. You know, don't foresee changing the tires for a while. Don't, DID chain is good, quality chain. Do have solid mount handlebars, which for me is a problem. My wrist, so I'm gonna have to find some kind of solution to get around that solid mount. But trust me, I'll make that happen. Anyways, guys, I'll catch you next time. Be safe out there. Go ride.